Welcome to Pieguys Pick'em. Week 12 of the NFL season is upon us. It was a good week last week. The Cowboys on Monday night really got the week to good plus territory. It was already a plus week. We had some good reads with the Jaguars, Chargers under, the Bears, best bet cash. Obviously, the Cowboys was an easy winner. Some mistakes though. I feel like the Dolphins was a nice winner in Spain. Took overtime, but got there, staying off the Chiefs. The Giants over got there. The spread push. So overall, with some good results. I think I made some mistakes though. Certain bets probably should have been higher unit size than they were, and then some bets should have been lower unit size than they were. I'm looking at you, Cincinnati. Up and down, but overall positive last week. So that's all. We can't complain about that. So let's get right into it, and we'll start in the Windy City, Chicago, Illinois, where the Chicago Bears, the first place Chicago Bears, are 2.5-point home favorites against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The total here, 45.5. The Steelers, they were the better team against the Bengals on Sunday. However, 2 turnovers that were returned for touchdowns by the Steelers defense made that score look worse than it was. That was a 4 or 5 point game in the fourth quarter, but they did outgain Cincy by 1 yard per play. Aaron Rodgers got hurt in that game. I did not actually look at the update just yet, but I really don't think there is a big difference between Mason Rudolph and Aaron Rodgers. The quotes coming out of that game were, "We believe in Mason Rudolph. We trust Mason Rudolph. We believe he can lead us to victory." And he did lead them to victory last week against the Bills. I mean, the defense really led them to victory, but he was fine last week. Aaron Rodgers, we talked about, he looked old against the Chargers. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers plays very well in Chicago historically. The Packers have owned the Bears over the past, or basically over the entirety of Aaron Rodgers' career there. So, interesting scenario we have going on there. Alex Highsmith doubtful for this game. And then a few questionables, including Mr. Rodgers himself, Cameron Hayward and Darius Slay. A lot of injuries on the Bears side, but some of the same names like running backs, Johnson and Homer, don't really matter. Linebackers, though, Noah Sewell and TJ Edwards, that could be a concern. Safety, Jaquan Brisker, cornerback Kyler Gordon, and cornerback Jalen Johnson, all questionable for this game. All of them full participants at practice on Friday. And but the linebackers, Edwards, Sewell, and Edmonds are all ruled out. So the Steelers should be able to run the football a little bit in this game. That's a bit of a concern because that's been the strength of the Steelers offense for most of this season, the run game. So I think that could be a problem for Chicago. McCarthy, again, almost pulled one out of his hat last week against the Chicago Bears, taking the lead late. But what happened? Nice kick return by Devin Duvernay. Cairo Santos field goal cashes the best bet, plus 125 on the Bears money line. The Bears have consistently won the turnover battle. They were outgained 4.4 yards per play for the Bears to 4.9 yards per play for the Vikings, but the Bears had 140 rushing yards. The Ben Johnson run game is in full effect in Chicago. And the offensive line, my goodness. I mean, this was a weakness for the Bears for years. All of a sudden, they're playing like a top 3 unit. I know it's been, not the greatest opponents, but if they can play like a top 3, and Caleb Williams is playing much, much better behind that offensive line. And, he hasn't been turning the ball over, and the Steelers can live off turnover margin. I know the Bears have been living off turnover margin, but it's not only the fact that the defense is getting turnovers, it's the fact that the Bears are not turning the ball over that is really getting them. So, if the Bears were healthier at linebacker, then this could be a smash play for me, but 2.5 is too cheap. The Chicago bandwagon for me, baby, continues to roll. I've been on the Bears almost every week all season, not stopping out, not against the Steelers team. I don't trust at a cheap number at home. Bears minus 2.5. I actually got a 3 earlier in the week. The injuries kind of went against me a little bit, but 2.5 is too cheap to pass up, in my opinion. I may add a little bit more, but I'm a little bit concerned that the Steelers' run game could work here. This total looks a little bit low. I know the Bears games, um, the Bears game went under the total last week, and the Steelers can be an under team, so maybe it's low for a reason. We could see some turnovers on the wrong side of the field here in the end zone or something to keep this under the total. But yeah, I like the Bears. The Bears are the better team, in my opinion. The Bears are at home. Steelers, I don't trust them. And I don't think the defense is going to do much here. Like, their strength is pass rush. Bears' O-line's playing well. Williams should be fine. The run game's been great. The other side, if the Bears can if the Bears can sell it a little bit to the run, I don't think the Steelers' passing game is going to do much, whether it's Rudolph or Rodgers. And either of those players are due to throw a turnover. We know how both of them I don't trust to just keep a clean football game. I do trust Caleb Williams, and that should be the difference here. Bears -2.5, the first play on Pieguy's Pick'em so far for Week 12. As we move along, that number. Oh, man, if the Titans were 13-point favorites, that'd be hilarious. Titans, 13-point home underdogs to the Seattle Seahawks, the total 40.5. So Sam Darnold has his awful 4-interception game everybody was waiting for, and they almost won the game and they covered. This team is real, and they believe in Sam Darnold. The quotes after the game from the defense: "We want Sam back there. He's our quarterback. He's kept us in every game. The defense could have played a little bit better, and we win that game." Or they're it was a long kick, but that kick goes through the uprights. And the Seahawks beat the Rams last week, take first place in the division in a game where Sam Darnold throws 4 picks. That's a positive. They outgained the Rams 5.2 yards per play to 5 yards per play. The Rams being one of the hottest teams in the NFL. 26 first downs for the Seahawks. The Rams 10. Those are turnovers. They happen. They all happen in one game. It tends to be that way for Darnold. But and Greg Zabel, again, we talked about him last week, the guard for the Seahawks, on injury watch again, as I will get an update on that right now. And we talked about the Titans. They're coming off the bye. No, they're coming off the game again. The game against the Texans. I think they're on bye every week. I don't bet that game, their game, because they're not paying attention at all. First play of the first drive with Calvin Ridley back in the fold, and he breaks his leg. The Tennessee Titans season in a nutshell, right there. The good news is they may no longer be the worst team in the league. We'll talk about who I think might be a little bit worse later on in the show, but they're 31 or below. Cam Ward, 24 of 37, a touchdown, no picks. Pretty good performance for him. I mean, this team, there's no weapons. Calvin Ridley's out for the season now. The rookie Aon Namor, I think he's Canadian. Aon Manor, he's out too. So it's going to be, Kamari DK, Tajay Spears, Chigo Okonkwo as they're the number one targets here if they do anything. Tyrese Knight and Torrey Horn out for the Hawks. Not too big of a concern. Yeah, Greg Zabel's question, but he did go last week. Kenneth Walker's question, but I don't think that matters too much here. Zach Charbonnet is fine. The Titans, not only are the Titans one of the worst teams in the league, a couple of their better players, Xavier Woods and top 2 wide receivers are out. So the Seahawks coming off a loss in the game they had a chance to win. Now it could be a little bit of a letdown spot, but the fact that they lost that game, and we saw what the Seahawks have done to bad teams this season. They beat the ever-living tar out of them. So I'm going to play some Seattle -13. This probably, I know it's on the road, which is why it hasn't got to 14, but it probably should be 14. It could be 17. I wouldn't play it at 17, but I think 13 you can play. The Seahawks should win by 2 touchdowns here. There's the concern with the Seahawks running up scores that they've been scoring on defense, and Cam Ward hasn't been turning the football over. So maybe the Titans can if they keep a clean game. But what are the Titans going to do here? Look at this total. It's 40.5, and you have a spread of 13. So the books are expecting the Titans to score 13 points in this game. I think Seattle can get to 27, 28. I don't even know if the Titans are going to get 13. They might get shut out here. That yeah, I like Seattle here. Sam Darnold's not throwing 4 picks against this defense. Seahawks minus 13. Another bet. As we roll along here, Detroit Lions, New York Giants, the Lions, 12.5, 13-point home favorites, a total of 50, 50.5. This was 10.5 earlier in the week. So I'm guessing Jackson Dart is not playing this week. As we'll take a look at the quarterback situation. But we know the angle here. The reason Detroit's taking all the money, Detroit off a loss. They're like 12-0 straight up, and they've been pretty good against the spread. I bet a few weeks ago, Detroit minus was an 8.5 against Washington, an easy winner. They were shut down. Dan Campbell looked like a genius 2 weeks ago. When he took over the play calling duties. This week he looked like an imbecile. But the Philly defense was ridiculous, and they didn't convert on 4th downs. They outgained Philly in terms of yards per play. I think it was like 5.2. I have it in the Philly notes later on, but they outgained Philly. Was at 5.3 yards per play to 3.9 yards per play. So they were outgaining Philly, but the Philly defense just made the stops they needed. Jared Goff was under duress all game. And there's injuries for the Lions. Both offensive tackles and both safeties, Brian Branch, Kirby Joseph, Taylor Decker, and Penei Sewell were all on the injury report earlier this week. So based on this line movement, I am going to double check. I'm pretty sure that the Lions got good injury news this week. And Terrion Arnold's out. Kirby Joseph is out. And a lot of questions. Like these Lions teams beat up. This is a big number. So I don't think I'm going to go back to the angle. I had it written down here. Brock Wright was even limited in practice. So now, like he's going to play, but they're already down Laporta. I think the best way to attack Detroit here, just play the running back props. There's 2 of them. I think they both could go ham on this New York Giants run defense, which has been horrible. The Giants were outgained 5.8 to 4.9 yards per play against the Packers. They were off the new coach bump with Kafka coming in. Jameis Winston always gets guys fired up to play, and they gave it a good effort. Now you got to go on the road against a Detroit team who's pissed off because they couldn't convert a 4th down last week. Another L for them to the Eagles. Now they're looking up at the Chicago Bears in the standings, and they know they can catch the Chicago Bears. So I'm not, like I said, I'm not betting New York. I have no interest fading Detroit off a loss, but this point spread's got a little too much. I think I'm going to play some running back props, Gibbs, Montgomery, touchdowns, yardage, whatever you fancy. I think that is the way to go if you like the Lions in this spot. I think the numbers got a little bit away. It's not like the Tennessee Titans where they just might not score. The Giants should be able to score a little bit here with Jameis Winston. They're going to put up, 13, 14 points here. So that means, and I know the run defense for New York is bad, but the Lions are beat up a bit. Do they really care to run up the score against the New York Giants? This might be, get the win and get out. They win by 7-10, and no surprises, but fail to cover the spread. So it's a pass for me. If it comes back down a bit, I might look at the Lions, but 12.5 is a lot against a team that's like the New York Giants are bad, but they're not the Tennessee Titans bad. This is a team with a pulse, with a new head coach, with a quarterback who rallies the troops, with some Tyrone Tracy, Theo Johnson, good, decent skill position players, decent defensive line. If the Giants take a lead here, this could be trouble for Detroit. I mean, not real trouble. In theory, if there's a weird special teams or defensive touchdown, the Giants are up 14. Now, I know everyone's been able to come back on the Giants, so it probably doesn't matter. But, yeah, Detroit wins. I don't know by how much, though. So, just running back props, maybe. I'll talk to the prop man later this week. As we move along to the Baltimore Ravens, another big spread, 13.5-point home chalk against the New York Jets. The total 44.5. Well, the Spirits were good with the Jets for a while. 2 straight wins. And then Thursday night, they go to play New England. And they put up a decent effort. But they lose by 13. The spread pushes. And Aaron Glenn, in his infinite wisdom, we got to keep the spirits up. We had 2 wins, okay, lost. We're going to keep the spirits up. The Jets' big move this week, they got a new puppy in the facility. And he's moving back to Justin Fields had a pretty good game, I thought, against New England. Not good enough. We need Tyrod Taylor. We need a puppy in here. That's the Aaron Glenn coaching adjustments for bringing in dogs and old quarterbacks. Oh, the Jets. Donnie Mitchell looked pretty good against New England, but he can't catch. He drops balls. He can't catch balls. But he's getting good separation. Positive for the Jets. This team's a joke. I was laughing. What are the Jets gonna do to bounce back? Oh, we're gonna bring in a puppy. Oh, we're gonna put Tyrod Taylor back in the lineup. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna work. The Ravens, they outgained the Browns 5.9 to 3.5 yards per play. But Lamar's being priced like he's MVP Lamar. He's not right now. And I'm not laying 13.5 with the Ravens. There's no way. And they got a Thanksgiving game coming up. And don't look now, but Joey Burrow might be on the field Thursday night against the Ravens. So this is a classic look-ahead spot where, maybe the Jets with the momentum from the new puppy and maybe Donnie Mitchell catches some balls here. And they come out to like a 10-point lead, and the Ravens have to come from behind, end up winning by 7-10. Kind of like what I said with the line. This game I could like there's a case here to take the Jets. I can make a case to take the Jets before I would lay 13.5 there. It's like that's not the best spot for the Ravens, but at the same time, I have no interest in betting the New York Jets. So it is a pass for me. What I actually do like in this game is a Donnie Mitchell with the more passing quarterback in Tyrod Taylor in the fold. A Donnie Mitchell over 27.5 receiving yards. I could see that. The Jets are probably going to be down at some point in this game. 30 yards. Garrett Wilson's out. You have tight ends. You have running backs. This guy's, he's got some skill. I think that's probably my. Well, I'm not betting the Jets, but let's bet the Jets to do something good, kind of deal here. Donnie Mitchell over 27.5 receiving yards or whatever the best number you can get. I think that was the best number I saw yesterday. All right. Speaking of Joey Burrow, Joe Burrow. Let's be wrong. The Patriots are -7, not the Bengals. Joe Burrow is questionable for this game against the New England Patriots. The Patriots are 7-point road favorites. The total here 51.5 across the board, pretty much. I don't think he's going to play. I don't know why you would put him out there. You're 3-7. I understand the division is technically still up for grabs, especially if the Bears win. And Baltimore slips on a banana peel against the Jets and their new puppy. But I don't think he's playing. Trey Hendrickson and who was it? Cameron Sample, 2 your better defensive edge rushers, they're out, and cornerback Cam Taylor-Britt is out. And safety Dijon Anthony and stuff. So they're going to be, the defense is already bad. Jamar Chase is suspended for spitting. And why would you bring back Joe Burrow here? I don't get. This was 6.5 yesterday. I thought about betting it, but I'm like, do I really want to, lay it? And then Joe Burrow comes out of there. But if Joe Burrow doesn't play, the Bengals might be worse than the Titans with no Trey Hendrickson, no Jamar Chase, no Cam Taylor-Britt, no safety, Dijon Anthony. Like This team is bad, real bad. And like I said, I think they're going to save Joe Burrow for Thursday. It's a primetime game, right? You're not going anywhere. You don't have a defense. You don't really have an offensive line. And you're playing, the New England Patriots. I know it's a home game. But I don't think Burrow's. I think they're keeping him for Thursday. I think he will play Thursday against the Ravens, though. I do expect to see him Thursday. And Chase is back Thursday. So what? Like, why would you like? It's going to be Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, and friends against the one of the top teams in the AFC here. I think it's going to be Flacco again, or Flacco is healthy, right? Yeah, it's going to be Flacco again, I think. And the New England Patriots, complete win against the Jets. The Jets scored in their first possession, but there was one other touchdown later. But outside of that, I mean, the New England Patriots dominated that game. They outgained the Jets 5.4 to 4.3 yards per play. Trey Henderson, 3 touchdowns. Finally using Trey Henderson. I saw, Ramondre Stevenson's back this week. Well, if I'm Mike Vrabel, maybe I, take Ramondre Stevenson accidentally slips and falls in the locker room and something. The way Trey Hendrickson's playing, I would sit him down. Why are you rushing him back for against the Bengals and this garbage defense? Please, only 2 penalties for 20 yards, clean wins. The Patriots are beating these bad teams clean wins, and a clean win against the Bengals. You win by more than 7. And Kayshon Boutte is expected to be back in this game too. He's been their second best receiver after Diggs. The Patriots are the better team. If Joe Burrow comes out there and plays, good for him. I don't think he will. I think they've. I guess there's like an outside chance they could still win the division because the division is horrible. You play Baltimore next week, but this is Joe Burrow, your franchise quarterback for the next until you trade him, basically, or he, knock on wood, he can't play anymore. But yeah, Patriots -7. I think this one is a really good bet. This went up to 9.5, and then the Burrow rumor started. But it's not like they've said he's in. Like, why would you announce? Like, you're really going to announce an hour before the game? Oh, Joe Burrow's back. But Zach Taylor's not the smartest cat in the litter, so I could see that. But the New England, even if Joe Burrow comes back, outside of maybe wide receiver, you could argue T. Higgins and Diggs are an even. But Burrow and Drake May are probably an even too. So the Patriots look better everywhere. Yeah, give me New England here -7. I think this is another clean win where they don't turn the ball over. They're able to run the football. They do whatever they want. The Cincinnati defense, and the New England defense has been good at stopping the run. And without Chase out there, it's just Higgins, right? I know Joe Burrow can make ridiculous throws, and if he comes in here, it's going to be trouble. But they could still win by 10 with Joe Burrow, I think. But I want the 7 now because I think this is probably going to close 9.5 when they announce finally that Joe Burrow is not playing. All right, and here we go. The big one of the bigger games of the week, in my opinion. The Bears one's pretty big too, but Chiefs Colts. Chiefs 3.5 point home favorite, total 49.5, 50. Chiefs lose again, 5-5. Now they're looking up at Jacksonville and the Chargers in the standings for the wild card. And Buffalo, right? Those are 3 wildcard teams right now. Oh, you lost to all 3 of those teams. So you have the tiebreaker against nobody. And they just don't look the same. And I've heard they can't win these 1-score games. It's a regression to the mean. This, that, and the other. This is it's not the same team. I mean, the players are older. The offensive line is as good, and the teams around them are just better. Like Jacksonville is much better. They have a competent head coach. The Chargers, Justin Herbert's playing out of his mind. That defense is healthy, and they have a competent coach. Buffalo just has their number in the regular season, and the Chiefs have their number in the playoffs. It's just, and they have Josh Allen. Like Josh Allen he'll win games by himself. We saw it last week against Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Broncos had 147 yards in penalties last week, and the Chiefs still lost the game. So, like, even the ref theory, where the refs helped the Chiefs. Well, they gave the Chiefs 147 yards of penalties. They still lost. The Broncos outgained the Chiefs 5.6 to 5 yards per play. The Chiefs had a fourth quarter lead at one point. They blew that. Like, this is un-Chief like. They don't feel like the same team. And they're healthy too. Like, Rashee Rice is back. The defense is pretty healthy on the Kansas City. It's not like it's injuries anymore. There's really no excuse. The team they haven't looked the same, and I don't think they are the same. Okay, Isaiah Pacheco's out, but running backs don't matter too much. Xavier Worthy's questionable. Tackle Kingsley Sumataya, he's also questionable for this game. And on the other side, I don't know how the Chiefs are going to stop Jonathan Taylor here. I know Daniel Jones has had back-to-back games with multiple turnovers, and we knew that was coming a little bit. He turns the ball over sometimes, but the Colts are coming off their bye. They found another way to win in overtime against the Falcons. The Colts are finding ways to win. The Chiefs are not. They outgained the Falcons 7 yards per play to 4.8 yards per play. They had 519 total yards of offense. It's Charvarius Ward could be coming back from concussion protocol. Yeah, he's questionable. I think he's going to play. All of a sudden, you got Sauce on one side, you got Ward on the other side. It's going to be tough to pass on this team. Going to have to rely on, it's going to be a tall order. Like, the Colts are better, and they're catching 3.5. Like, I have to bet the Colts here. I didn't bet the Broncos last week because I said, the Chiefs, they've owned their division. Hey, they had a rough start. There were some injuries. I said, they're going to put it together. Andy Reid off a bye. But now it's the influx. You have Shane Steichen off the bye, and the better team is getting points still. And the Colts have owned the Chiefs. If you look, are not only, but they've given the Chiefs trouble. Even when they've had bad teams, the Chiefs have struggled to beat this Colts team. The Colts are strong in the trenches. And yeah, Jonathan Taylor, like the Chiefs, I don't know if the Chiefs can be able to stop. This is Colts plus 3.5 all day. The Chiefs are being priced like their last year's. I remember last year's Chiefs weren't that good. They escaped with a lot of victories. They found ways to win. They were good at doing the little things right, and that hasn't been enough this season. Colts plus 3.5 here. I like the road dog. There's a lot of scenarios where the Chiefs win this game by 3 points, but it's hard for me to see them win by more. And I think that the Colts win this game. Like, I would make. I know it's in Kansas City, but I'd probably make this game closer to pick. If this game was in Indy, like the Colts, the Colts might get bet out to 3. I don't know, but like the markets respect Kansas City too much. It's too much. I know it's whatever must win. That must win doesn't mean will win. And they need to win by margin here, and you're getting 3.5 across the lots of 3.5s available. I know the counter argument is that, like, Colts are hot going into the bye, but the Colts been good. Like, this is a good offensive coach. It's finally worked out. Daniel Jones can clean up the turnovers in the bye week. Yeah, he's not been asked to do much. I mean, Jonathan Taylor we have 3 touchdowns, 244 yards in Germany 2 weeks ago. Colts plus 3.5. Too much market respect for the Chiefs. They're not the Chiefs of 2 seasons ago. They might be the Chiefs of last season, but they're the luck isn't going their way. But the Chiefs last season weren't that good, and we saw in the Super Bowl and the Super Bowl hangover. My goodness, is it ever real here? And at this point, if you have I don't know what the number is for Chiefs to miss the playoffs, but I might like if it's not chalk, probably should be. All right, now they do have an easy schedule going forward, so we'll see next week. But this isn't the team you want when you need a win and you're 5-5 to play the Indianapolis Colts. All right, Green Bay Packers, Minnesota Vikings, Packers 6.5 point home chalk. The total 41.5 here. So, long story short, the problem for Minnesota is J.J. McCarthy. And he's been a problem for the last 2 weeks or so. And the reason I liked the Bears last week a lot is they were going to win the turnover battle, and you knew that because McCarthy was going to turn the ball over and Williams was not. That's exactly what happened. He played a decent game against the Bears, but he needs more reps. I'm not sold that he's good or bad. It's still undecided, but right now he's not good. But on the other hand, the Vikings injury report is shrinking. There's less and less guys on it. Tucker Kraft still missing for Green Bay. Jalen Reed, missing for Green Bay. Quay Walker, Nate Hobbs going to be missing for Green Bay likely. So the Vikings are the healthier team. They got their quarterback back. The question is, can he do anything? But on the other hand, I'm not laying 6.5 with the Packers. You know that. This team has been fade city for me all season except one game, and they lost the game 10-7 to the Eagles. But they were in tough against the Giants, but they outplayed them. They did well. Josh Jacobs is on IR, right? Oh no, he might play in this game. I don't think he's going to play. Kicker issues, rearing their ugly head again with McManus hurt. Harvesting? The guy who came in missed an extra point, or he missed the field. He missed a kick. I remember that. I don't trust Matt LaFleur right now. I don't trust Jordan Love right now. This defense is okay, but it's starting. The injuries are starting to bite them. Christian Watson's back. This offense is getting healthy. Obviously, Tucker Kraft is done for the season, and they have a couple of offensive linemen who are on IR. This is a pass for me. I don't want either team. The Vikings are an enigma. I think if the Vikings opponent is in a good spot, you can bet against the Vikings. If the Vikings opponent is in a bad spot, you can bet on the Vikings. So they're a little bit of the middle of the pack right now. But if the other team is not focused and ready to go, the Vikings can take advantage. But I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen in this game. No interest. I can't bet the Vikings. I would only bet the Vikings, but I don't trust McCarthy. And Green Bay's offense might be able to work here, but I don't trust Green Bay in any sense of the imagination. Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur are not clutch players or clutch coaches. When the games get tight, Green Bay often finds themselves on the losing end. Obviously, they won by 7 here, but again, Green Bay hasn't been running up the score on these teams. They won by 7 against the Giants. The one game that they really, flexed their muscles against Washington, and then they did nothing in the second half of that game. So this is backdoor city. It's Vikings are past, but I'm not betting Minnesota. The total is interesting. If McCarthy has a good game, this is going to fly over, I think. But the defenses are also pretty good, so. Yeah, nothing for me on this game. There's a lot of spots I like, a lot of games I'm betting, and this one's not one of them. The one angle you could look at, Aaron Jones back in Green Bay. He played really well there the first time. The Packers' run defense hasn't been great. This could be an Aaron Jones game. So, I might get there with some Aaron Jones props in this game. So that's something, if you really want action on this game, or going to the game, or you're going to be watching it, Aaron Jones, I think, is the man to look at for player props. All right, Browns, Raiders. The Las Vegas Raiders are 4-point home favorites, or 3.5, 4-point home favorites. The total is 36.5. Last week, I completely passed the Browns game because they were playing the Jets. I said, I don't want either team. Oh, no, sorry, it was 2 weeks ago. Last week, I bet the Browns. The Ravens, they don't need to win by more than 7. And they won by 7. And Shedeur Sanders came into the game, and he wasn't very good, 4 for 16. But he had a pretty good drive. It made it interesting late. The Browns' defense continues to be very, very good. And I feel like no matter what happens here for the Cleveland Browns, they're going to come out on the positive end of it. Because I think if Shedeur Sanders absolutely is horrible. Well, you don't have to worry about the nonsense media telling you to start him, Skip Bayless, and all these other hot take people telling you, oh, you got to start Shador, get Shador in there, just for clickbait, whatever nonsense. Get all that out of the room. If he's bad, oh, he sucked, we start him. Now we can move on, right? But if he's good, well, you have a quarterback on your hands, maybe. So, and this is a team, he can play pretty good against, because let me tell you right now, the Las Vegas Raiders are absolute dog water right now. They are horrible. Complete, coach, quarterback, offensive line are the three most important qualities of your football team, in my opinion. Quarterback, then coach, then offensive line. Okay, their quarterback is mediocre to bad in Geno Smith. Their coach right now, Pete Carroll, mediocre to bad. Their offensive coordinator, more importantly, Chip Kelly, is horrible. He's been complete, asinine. The offense of the Raiders has been just, I can't even describe it. It's so bad. It's just debacle after debacle. You got Brock Bowers out there making plays. He's getting tons of separation, and they can't move the football. Geno Smith, mediocre right intercept, and then of course the offensive line. This might be the worst offensive line I've seen in a long, long time. They were dominated at the line of scrimmage by the Dallas Cowboys. Just poor execution, bad technique. Go watch them play. The wrong foot's going forward. They're letting guys walk right by them. A bunch of turnstiles. All five of them, for the most part. But at least 3 or 4 of the 5 of them have been horrible. It's debacle after debacle. Every play is an adventure. On the offensive line, for the right, Ashton Genty's getting tackled behind the line of scrimmage. Every play, these guys can't block. They can't block. The whole offensive line is horrible. Chip Kelly's scheme is just as bad, and then Geno Smith throws interceptions once in a while. But I'm giving Geno Smith the benefit of the doubt, because what he's working with right now is Brock Bowers and a bunch of trash. Okay, it's bad. And they're laying 4 points at home. Now, Max Crosby and the defense have been okay. But they didn't do well against the Cowboys last week. But what were they going to do? I mean, they stopped the Cowboys on a couple of drives, I thought. But it's this offensive line is, Myles Garrett can win this game by himself, as far as I'm concerned. Shedeur Sanders can just stand back there and hand the ball off 60 times, not throw one pass, and I think the Browns can win this game, because what's Vegas going to do against this Cleveland defense? They try to run the football. It's going to be Grant Delpit's going to be in the backfield tackling Ashton Genty for a loss. They try to throw the football. Geno Smith's going to get sacked, or the ball's going to get tipped up the air in a pick six. This should be complete domination by the Cleveland defensive line. Browns +4, Browns money line. The double up spot, not double up, but Browns +4 full unit, and then Browns on the money line +175. I know rookie quarterback in the first start. Usually I just bet against it, but in this scenario, he can literally sit back there and hand the ball off 60 times, and Cleveland probably wins this game. Cleveland's defense is better than the entirety of the Las Vegas Raiders, in my opinion. This is a smash spot. This is Vegas can't be laying 4 points. Cleveland loses the game by 3 points and cover against this terrible team. And if they beat me, they beat me. But what I saw from that Vegas offensive line last 2-3 weeks, it is mistakes, technical mistakes. They're not very good. The scheme is horrible, and they're not executing. And they're making Ashton Genty look like a bust. He's not. And Brock Bowers is open by 5 yards every play. They still can't move the football. Shedeur Sanders, don't turn the ball over. You win the game here. That's the Browns. Browns +4, Browns money line. Vegas, I was saying earlier, who's the worst team in the league? Is it Tennessee? Is it Cincinnati if Burrow doesn't play? It might be Vegas. But, they have Brock Bowers. They have Max Crosby. They have, a mediocre to bad quarterback in Geno Smith. Pete Carroll's doing what he can with the defense, but he's not an offensive coach. All right, move along. Jaguars, Cardinals, Jacksonville, 2.5 3-point road favorites. The total 47.5. The Jags had their most complete game last week. They dominated the Chargers 35-6. It was defense shut the Chargers down, 3 yards per play for the Los Angeles Chargers. 2 yards below league average, more than 2, I think. The Jacksonville offense had 5 yards play. The Jags had 1 penalty for 5 yards in that game. This is coaching. This is what a good Jacksonville hasn't had a good coach in a long, long time. Doug Peterson, he was okay, but you had that Urban Meyer debacle where he's kicking kickers. Who do they have after that? Was it Peterson? I don't know. But all of a sudden, the Jags have a good coach, and Trevor Lawrence, he's not great, but he doesn't need to be great because this run game is fantastic. He just needs to not turn the ball over. And on the other side, you have the Cardinals, who are injured to hell and high water right now. A multiple offensive lineman on injured reserve. Will Hernandez, the guard, is questionable. You got Marvin Harrison Jr., he's out. So your number one receivers, Michael Wilson and Greg Dortch. Nice little players, but they're not number one receivers. 3 running backs out. We say running backs don't matter, but when you get down to 3, yeah, they matter because now it's Bam Knight and some guys you found on the streets of Arizona who are going to be running the ball in this football game. And Bam Knight's not even 100%. And that's not good when you're talking about a Jacksonville defense who can rush the passer pretty well. If you can't run the football, Jacoby Brissett's going to be, not too happy back there. He's going to be looking like Jared Goff did on Sunday Night Football. And of course, Kyler Murray's still out. But I don't know, I don't even know what his injury is. But I don't know if it's called. You can make the Call of Duty joke if you want, but every November it feels like this guy's injured. The defensive line, though, it looks like Walter Nolan III is going to play. They have 2 cornerbacks, and they have Darius Robertson on the edge, who are questionable. So the defense is getting healthier for the Cardinals. Last week, the San Francisco spot was, well, I don't trust San Francisco, but the Arizona defense was just so injured that they were going to score 40, and they did. The team total over was easy. I should have put more on it. The Arizona Cardinals committed a franchise high 17 penalties last week, breaking a record from 1936. Their coach is on the hot seat. He's, he looks tilted at the press conferences answering questions. He's going to get fired, I think. And I don't know if it's his fault. There's injuries. His quarterback, keeps getting hurt. The team always has like potential, and then whether it's injuries or bad losses, or they can't seem to get to that next level, and it's just too cheap of a price. 2.5. You got to bet Jacksonville here. Jacksonville's a better team. These teams are going in opposite direction, or one team's going up, the other team's going down. And the team it's a road favorite. I know it's Jacksonville. Can you trust them on the road? But I know the Cardinals, they beat Dallas 2 weeks ago, but they weren't this injured. If Trevor Lawrence doesn't do something stupid, the Jaguars should win this game. And the Jaguars, you have to remember, the Jaguars, they were down. Brian Thomas Jr., Travis Hunter, a couple of corners, a couple of linemen, and they still demolish the Chargers. This team has a buy sign. Now, I already have preseason. The Jags hopefully should get to 8 wins and cash the preseason win total I have. And I have them to win the division, but I might take a look at that price because we know what happens when Indy goes to Jacksonville. It has not fared well for the Indianapolis Colts. So that could be the Jags are not out of the division race right now, and right now they're pretty solidly in the playoffs. They have the tiebreaker over the Chiefs, and they're, I think, a game and a half or 2 games up on them. So Jags look like they're going to the playoffs right now, and they're playing a team that they're playing the Arizona Cardinals at the right time when they're hurting, and it looks like the ship is imploding there down in Phoenix. All right. Atlanta Falcons, New Orleans Saints. Saints -2, the total 40.5. I mentioned last week I was kind of upset the Saints were on bye because, in my opinion, they had a big buy sign on them because You looked at their schedule, and it was good team after good team after good team, except for the Giants game. They won that game. And then I bet them against Carolina. It was a small play because it was Tyler Shuck, didn't know what you were going to get, but it was an easy, was it 17-7? They won the game by 10 points, covered by 15.5. Now I understand now they're favorites, okay, but they're coming off the bye. You get the rookie quarterback, 2 weeks to prepare. A win and a bye. So it's, traditional handicapping would be, you can't bet the bad team off the win and the bye, right? That's traditional old school handicapping. But this team, like I said, they're fighting every week. They've been, it feels like they're in range of covering. I think there was maybe 1 week they got blown up pretty bad, but I think that was by the Seahawks. So everybody bad to get blown up by the Seahawks. Kellen Moore, I think they like him down there in New Orleans. So I am on the Saints here. No surprise. I said last week, I said, I like the Saints if Atlanta won. Now they didn't win, but this might be a worse spot than if they did win and coming down. Now they've struggled in New Orleans. They've lost 5 in a row now. Michael Penix is on IR. So in comes Kirk Cousins, and he was horrible last week. He was awful. I forget. I think he had like 4 pass completions, and they got 1 first down in the 4 or 5 drives he was on the field. Only a few passes completed. Drake London's out. He's been their best player by a mile. And it's Raheem Morris. I don't trust him. And this Falcons defense looked so good on Sunday Night Football against the Vikings. They looked pretty good. They looked okay. They allowed Bryce Young to throw for 419 net passing yards on Bryce Young, the Carolina passing game, which had no juice for like 3-4 weeks, plays Atlanta. All of a sudden, they can throw them. Now, they did get some players back. The Panthers, Jalen Coker is back. Leggett looks healthier. They got some offensive line, but they had a lead in that game against a Carolina Panthers team that had no passing attack until all of a sudden they could throw the football. And yeah, Raheem Morris, he's not very good. Chip Kelly's the offensive coordinator. This guy's the head coach, and he's horrible. And that go on. You can go watch the highlights on YouTube of the Panthers and Falcons game. Go to the last play, or very end of the video, the last play in overtime. Bryce Young throws it to Tommy Tremble, and it's just missed tackles. And it looks like the defense might have quit after they punted in overtime. They just didn't have it. It's been long, it's been gut-wrenching loss, gut-wrenching loss, gut-wrenching loss after gut-wrenching loss. No buys coming off the international travel. You put your heart, you have a lead. You see your quarterback, your young stud quarterback, young good quarterback go out. You see your best stud wide receiver get hurt. You got your coach being a moron on the sidelines. And now you got to go down to play New Orleans. In a game, a 2-6, 2-7 New Orleans team. Or it's basically 2-8 now. I can't. We're week 12, so probably 2-8 New Orleans team, who's won, as I mentioned, every game where they played a team at their caliber. And they've done, they've been in it. They were in it against Arizona. They were in it against, they covered the spread against Buffalo. I think they had that as best bet 1 week. They should have covered the spread a couple of times. They've been playing above their market rating, and now the respect has come. They're favored, but it's a death spot for Atlanta. Like, this is maybe the worst all-time spot for a team I've ever seen, where not only do all of the guys get hurt, now you got the 40-year-olds making $40 million coming in there, who's been stinking up the joint, and your coach, doesn't inspire any confidence. It's just a disaster. The whole team's imploding. And you got a young team like the Saints, who they're going to play hard because they're playing for jobs, and they want to get this thing. And they're coming off a win and a bye with a young quarterback. A little bit of excitement down there. They knew it was a rebuild coming in. No expectations. They got young guys. They're playing hard. And their defense is still pretty good. The defense has been good they were playing above their market rating, I think, for most of the year. And now, and then, like I said, they beat the Giants, they beat the Panthers, the two teams they play that are on their level. And this is a team that's on their level, and they should win this game by 3 points. Saints -2 for me. Tyler Shuck, I have no problem. Tyler Shuck might be a better quarterback than Kirk Cousins and on November 23rd, 2025 here. So give me the Saints -2. All right. Now another one, a lot of big games. Look at this. It's a good slate this week. Look, you got Green Bay, Minnesota, Colts, Chiefs. The Burrow play, New England, Cincinnati, Bears, Steelers, and another good one here. Cowboys, Eagles. And the Cowboys have taken some money here. Eagles 3-point road favorites, a total of 47.5. This was 5.5. I saw 4.5, 5.5 earlier this week. The Cowboys have taken money. The Cowboys look good, but remember who they played last week? The Las Vegas Raiders and their horrible offensive line, who made Jerry Jones look like a genius with Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark and everybody he picked up this season. Logan Wilson had a good game. They really made Jerry Jones look like a genius last week. The Las Vegas Raiders made him look like genius, not the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys still had to win the game. They still put the effort, you needed that. You needed a bad team to say, "Hey, we got guys. We're out of this." Now they're 4-5-1 coming into this game, but the Packers are losing. All right, the Packers are losing. The Lions lost, and then who's the other wild card? You're not catching Seattle. So the Cowboys pretty much have to catch Packers, I think, at this point, to sneak in here. Unfortunately, they've lost the Panthers. It doesn't help because the Panthers are. We'll talk about them in a couple of games here, but they haven't given up yet. And now you look around the corner, Thursday, Thanksgiving, you have to play the Kansas City Chiefs, and all of a sudden, it's in Jerry World. All of a sudden, that looks like a winnable game. It's back-to-back against the Super Bowl contenders from last year, but the Eagles' offense is struggling. The Chiefs are struggling overall. The Super Bowl hangover looks real. This is doable for the Cowboys. You could come out of these two games. All of a sudden, you're 6-5-1, above 500, and let the chips fall where they may. The NFC North's going to play each other. Somebody's got to lose. So I think that the Cowboys defense, even though the Raiders' offensive line was horrible, you need a good defense to make them look horrible, and the Cowboys did that. On the other hand, the Philadelphia defense couldn't be stopped last week. I mean, Jared Goff had no time in the pocket. The Lions 0 for 5 on fourth down. I can't remember the time that's happened. Lions stuck to their guns, but the Eagles are still outgained. I mentioned earlier 5.3 to 3.9 yards per play for in favor of the Lions in that contest. And it was elite performances against Green Bay and Detroit. Where on paper, pretty good offenses, but you look, Detroit's offense is banged up a little bit. They're missing Laporta. The offensive line has been on the injury report every week. And then Green Bay, I don't trust. They look a little bit fraudulent, and they're kind of giving the Cowboys life. Remember that tie? That tie, Green Bay not going for it, and that I hope it comes back to haunt them. The Cowboys get in because of that. I hope. Oh, that would make me feel so good. Or they get knocked out. Maybe the Panthers get in. Somebody gets in anyway. Remember, they lost to the Panthers too. Green Bay, doesn't have these tiebreakers. But their offense has been horrible. They looked a little bit better against the Lions. The passing game. I don't know if it's the coordinator, but Nick Sirianni said it. He said it a few weeks ago. We're not winning the Super Bowl in November, October, September. They're just getting in, getting out, one dub at a time. And this is, they don't need to peak right now. It's week 12. They're coming into form. The defense right now looks elite. It looks really, really good. And I bet against Philly 2 weeks in a row. And I don't know if I can do it again, especially not now that the money's come for Dallas. But I found a way to do it. Okay, because I think this Cowboys defense is going to give Philly trouble. They will give them a little bit of trouble. We said Philly only got 24. I know there was a lightning delay, and that kind of threw off the first game. But they only got 24. The team total here for the Eagles is 25.5. And I like the under because the way Philly's playing right now, they're not scoring very many points. And unless Dallas drags them into a shootout, which I don't think, I don't know how much, like the way Philly's defense is playing, I don't know how many points Dallas is going to score in this game. But there's a non-zero chance that, I could see a Dallas defensive touchdown here. There could also be a Philly defensive touchdown here, which gives me some concern. But 25.5. I mean, the Eagles scored 16 last week against the Lions defense. 10 against the Packers. They play Chicago Black Friday in Philadelphia. Now, obviously, this isn't a look-ahead spot. These teams don't like each other. It's going to be nasty in there. I think it's going to be. I think points might be at a premium this one. The games in Philly struggled in Dallas. It hasn't been their best, best place to play. The Cowboys are giving them trouble every time they come down here. So Philly team total under 25.5. That way, if the defense shows off again and they win 20-10, I cash a ticket. 24-10, cash a ticket. But if Dallas is able to rise the occasion, I think I cash a ticket out of the way because I think 27-24 Cowboys or something like that is possible. It's also possible it's just 24-20 Eagles. So, but I think the Eagles 24 I think that's probably the number they get to. I think 25.5 is a touch too high. You can get 26.5 for a little bit more chalk, but I'm going to just go say for 25.5, minus 106, team total under for Philadelphia. Half unit on this one. This isn't the strongest play of the week, but I like this is a Cowboys spot. The market sees that, but I think the best way to attack it is the team total because Philly could just shut them down. The Lions offense isn't anything to sneeze at. The Packers offense is decent to good. Dallas's offense, I know it's very good, but the way that the Eagles are playing, I just worry if they can get more than 14 here. But if Cowboys only get 10-14 points, I think it's probably like 24-10, 17-10. So, but I don't want the full game under because, like I said, there's a world where this gets a little bit higher scoring, but in that scenario, I think the Cowboys just win. But like it can go over the total, but the team total Philly like it could be 27-23 Dallas, something like that, where it goes over the total, but the team total stays under for Philly. Or Dallas wins 27, 27-23. That's something like that. Or 28-20, right? Where the total might be close. All right. Bucks Rams. Sunday Night Football. Bucks 6.5 point, 7-point home or road underdogs to the home favorite Los Angeles Rams, total 49.5. The Rams escaped again that game against Seattle. It was a dogfight. They were, they got the turnovers. They got the 4 turnovers. So that's a deserving win for the Rams, but that was close. I'm excited to see the rematch. 4 total interceptions, and it still took you 2 of 11 on third down. Now let's see, but I think that's more the Seahawks defense than the Rams off. The Seahawks defense right now is probably best in the league. Philly, Philly and Seattle are top 2 defenses. Higbee's on IR for the Rams, but this team's they're still won. They're still rolling. I still like them. And on the other side, it's the midseason swoon for Tampa. We talked about this a few weeks ago. Last 3 seasons, 4-game losing streaks. They still win the division. They got 2 games against Carolina late in the season. They just win those. They win the division pretty much because the Falcons are a mess and the Saints are still figuring it out. Josh Allen beat Tampa Bay by himself. 3 touchdown passes, 3 touchdown runs. The Bills had 7.8 yards per play. To Tampa's 5.4. It was 44-32 for the Bills in that one. Baker was 16 of 28 for 173 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. He's been not great. He's part of the swoon. But the run game, 202 rushing yards, but Bills defense isn't that great. We saw that last night against the Texans. Sean Tucker, 2 touchdowns for the Bucs in that one. Jamal Dean is out, along with Hassan Reddick and the offensive linebacker and what's this guy's name? Bredson. I don't know what his first name is. I can't read my writing. He has also been ruled out, and of course Bucky Irving's still on his injury sabbatical. I don't know what's going on there, but the Tampa injury report right now is a book. So, I think the Rams kill him. The Rams have had Tampa's number for a few years now. The Todd Bowles defense isn't going to work against Matthew Stafford. The Rams should be able to name their number here. And Tampa's on their midseason swoon. The Rams minus 6.5. Not the biggest play again, smaller play. There's spots I like better, but I will be on the Rams here. It's a good spot for them. I don't think they're happy with how they played last week. They escaped. And it's a home game, Sunday Night Football. They should win this one by a touchdown. Tampa might keep it close, but for a couple of quarters. But I think ultimately it's Rams by 7-10 here at home on Sunday Night Football. All right. Monday Night Football, final game, Carolina Panthers, San Francisco 49ers. 49ers also 7-point home favorites, a total 49.5 as well. So the Panthers off that big comeback win against the Falcons, where the Falcons kind of beat themselves. Injuries, and it took injuries. It took Falcon implosions, but the Panthers offense looked really good in that game. They hadn't had a passing game for a couple of weeks. All of a sudden, they had a passing game in that last outing. And why do they have a passing game? Well, Xavier Legette looks pretty healthy. He's been injured, on and off the last 2 years. He looked better. He was taken off the injury report, I think, on Wednesday or Thursday, early this week. So that's a good sign. Jalen Coker's back from injury. All of a sudden, it was Tate McMillan and Dowdle was the whole offense for a while there. Now you've got some options. Jatavian Sanders is back. He made some good plays. Tommy Tremble made that play in overtime. There's weapons for Bryce Young all of a sudden. The offensive line, Robert Hunt's still on IR, but the offensive line, other than that, is fairly healthy. They're a half game behind Tampa Bay for first place. Tampa Bay's 7-point dogs. They're 7-point dogs. If you upset here, they're going to watch Tampa. Panthers, I wouldn't be shocked if they pulled this one out. But at the same time, Brock Purdy's back, and we remember why Brock Purdy got all that money. He's pretty good. None of this nonsense. Oh, what's the difference between Mac Jones and Brock Purdy? Brock Purdy's better. If you watch the Cardinals game last week, 3 touchdowns, 133.5 passer rating. He only had 200 yards, but he's efficient. He knows how to manage a game. He knows how to he makes clutch throws when he needs to. But the defense, woof. Jacoby Brissett had 452 yards passing. I know they were behind all game, the Cardinals, but my goodness. Since Bosa's gone down, this defense has been bad. And when you look at pass rushes across the league, the bottom 2 pass rushes right now across most people's numbers, the Carolina Panthers and the San Francisco 49ers. And they got pretty good offensive lines. This is looking like a shootout. Carolina got their offense going last week. The Niners offense has been rolling. The Niners defense has been allowing bad teams to score on them. It's Monday Night Football. I think, Carolina's half a game back. Maybe, Canales brings out, some of the trickery, some of the good plays. This is over 49.5. And this isn't just one unit over. This is 2 units over 49.5. This is my first 2-unit play of the year here, because why is this not in the 50s? Who's stopping who here? I get it. Carolina could fold on themselves, but if they do that, the Niners should be able to get to 40. I really like this over. I think this number is bad. You get an extra day to prepare. It's Monday Night Football. I don't trust the defenses have been horrible on both sides. The Falcons got to 27 last week. Kirk Cousins even got a couple of first downs in that game. This is over now. And this isn't one of those games where the Niners are going to run out the clock. We got to run out the clock. No. They're going to score points trying to run out the clock here. Carolina, bad tackling, bad pass rush. Yes. 49.5, 2 units over the total for me. All right. Thank you for watching Pieguys Pick'em Week 12. Of course, follow me on Instagram at Pieguy9871 for updates. You can subscribe, do all the good YouTube stuff as well if you like. There's a lot. I really like Cleveland. In this spot, I like the Bears quite a bit. I like the Saints quite a bit. But it's the first 2-unit play of the year. It's the best bet. It's over 49.5 on Monday Night Football. We cashed an easy one last week on Monday Night Football. Primetime overs, we saw the Bills, Texans. That go over? I think it went over the total. It was a high-scoring first half. It was 44.5, wasn't it? Okay, it stayed under. Okay, so maybe for no. Yeah, but primetime games have been a little more high-scoring last couple of weeks. That didn't involve the Philadelphia Eagles. It's not going to be weather in San Francisco. Is there? Well, let's just double check here. Santa Clara weather, but it's California. Yeah, it's going to be fine. Sunny, 5 km/h winds. Yeah, no. Over 49.5. Pieguys best bet. 2 units. And let's keep it rolling. I feel pretty good about that. I don't want to, knock on wood, but I feel pretty good about this card. I think we got some good reads. And I hope you enjoyed the show. And we'll see you all next week on another edition of Pieguys Pick'em. Goodbye.